Hi everybody, welcome back. So thanks for joining me for another royal news video. I did get round and finally got to watch the 60 Minutes Australia interview featuring Jason Knauf. Loved it, really good. I have put a link to the video in the description of this video. I recommend you guys watch it. It's 20 minutes long and it's honestly such a nice personal side to Prince William that someone who is so close to him is revealing without actually revealing too much. This is Jason Knauf, who worked for a number of years as Prince William's press secretary, and then he also became the CEO of the Royal Foundation. In December 2022, he made it onto the King's Honours List to become a Lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order, and Prince William was the one to bestow the huge honour on him. Jason Knauf is a name that many of you will know because he was featured in the bullying allegations with Meghan at the palace. He was the one that pulled the rug out from under her and basically reported her awful behaviour to Prince William. Meghan has it in for him because he ruined her "but she's American, it's cultural differences" narrative. Because, well, he was born in Texas, raised in Virginia. The man is American as well, and he knew it was nothing to do with the expectations of Americans being different to Brits. It was the fact that she was a flat-out bully who was always targeting someone. The words that came out in the court case was "Meghan always has someone in her sights." But this interview wasn't about Meghan and Harry, despite the mainstream media's push to make it all about Harry and Meghan. So the interview starts off talking with Jason about Prince William and the 18 months that he has had and what he's actually been through. And to hear Jason talk about it, the fact that Prince William, it was the lowest that he's ever seen him, was really heartbreaking because Prince William found out that his father had cancer, which ran the risk of potentially King Charles falling ill and William and Catherine having to take the throne a lot earlier. But then to find out mere weeks later, whilst he's trying to take all of this on board, that his wife also has cancer. Again, we always have the worst fears, but I'm sure Prince William, already having lost his mother at such a young age, he probably was filled with so many images of his children potentially growing up in the same way and having to walk behind their mother's coffin. I cannot imagine the trauma that that put Prince William through. But as Jason points out, it's also what happened when Catherine, obviously, she took a step back from public life. It wasn't just the mainstream media, it was celebrities, it was TV stars, the "Where's Kate?" There were awful, disgusting rumours that were being spread about their marriage, some of the most vile things that were spread about the state of their relationship and what was really going on, and all the while he was trying to protect their children alongside Catherine. They hadn't told the children she had cancer. And of course, with social media, with children, especially George and Charlotte's age, many of them having access to phones where they see the sort of media reports, I cannot imagine the pressure that they were under trying to find a way to tell their children that their mother was sick, and also having to navigate the fact that they are royal children. There is going to be worldwide media attention on them. The stress and the pressure, obviously everybody was concerned for Catherine and everybody was concerned for the King as well. But it was a reminder of how much Prince William has been through. And this is why I love this couple so very much. He carried on working, but it was the fact that he just managed to keep himself going when I know that many people, you wouldn't have blamed him if he'd have completely broken down himself under that amount of pressure. Prince William is a very strong man, but the fact that he's so caring and compassionate, he's still always putting other people before himself. It's definitely something that his younger brother seems to lack, isn't it? Jason also went into detail of what Catherine and William are really like behind the scenes when they're not being the Prince and Princess of Wales, when they are just being mum and dad and they are faced with all of the realities the same as other parents. Catherine and William decided to move their family out of the palatal Kensington Palace apartments and they moved into the Windsor estate at Adelaide Cottage. Royal Nicker makes an appearance in the interview and she explains The Adelaide cottage is 5 bedrooms. They have no staff there. They have no housekeeper, no cooks. They take care of it as a proper family home. They choose not to have staff because they are trying to keep their life, their family life, as normal as possible for their children. And obviously the upbringing that Catherine had was very different to Prince William. Prince William has often spoke about the love and the safety that he felt becoming part of the Middleton family unit, and they are trying to make sure that that is replicated for their 3 children as well. Jason talks about how William and Catherine were always prioritising their children and trying to navigate preparing them for a public life, a life that Prince William knows all too well from his childhood with Harry, and they have both often spoke at how unpleasant it could be with constantly having a camera aimed at you. And obviously I do believe it's a lot worse now, as I said, with social media on top of all of this. Catherine and William will do absolutely anything to protect their children, and if it comes down to royal duties and protecting their family, they will choose their family, and that is something I do not fault them with at all. Now, 13 minutes into this 20-minute interview, we then start getting the questions about Harry and Meghan, in part because Jason didn't just work for the Prince and Princess of Wales, he also worked with Harry and Meghan, and he was actually one of the people that helped organise and navigate Meghan's introduction into being a royal girlfriend. I bet he was tearing his hair out within weeks, to be honest with you, trying to stop her from doing paparazzi strolls for a start. But this is the thing, he has been both sides of the royal, I guess, the royal feud. And he doesn't say a single negative thing about Harry and Meghan, despite what mainstream media have tried to portray. He spoke about being lucky enough to work on their magical wedding, which was amazing. And he wishes them all the best with their lovely family. There was no malice, there was no underhanded digs or swipes, or as one newspaper outlet said, an indirect attack on Harry and Meghan. He was very, very diplomatic. Now, obviously, the interviewer is not quite done with Jason here because he was at the head of the investigation that got the ball rolling with Meghan bullying palace staff. And this obviously became a lot more public when he gave evidence in a court case. There were emails that were revealed where he had written to Prince William of his concerns that Meghan had bullied 2 young female employees out of their jobs. But this is where he turns around and says, I wouldn't have done anything differently. The newspapers have twisted this and they've said that he's doubled down on the bullying allegations of Meghan. He's basically reigniting this feud. He did no such thing. The interviewer was actually asking him about how he coped once he was targeted and harassed with all of the attention that surrounded Meghan's bullying scandal. And it was about him working for the royal family. So he was saying, I would do it all again and I wouldn't do any of it differently. It's been completely twisted to suit this whole Harry and Meghan victim narrative. The royal family are making thinly veiled digs and swipes at Harry and Meghan. There are swipes and digs and attacks going on, but it's only coming from one side, and that is definitely from the other side of the pond. Catherine and William have remained radio silent, and Jason also brings this up about the feud between the brothers. The way that Jason spoke about it again was incredibly diplomatic, and he simply said that we all have ups and downs with families. It's very difficult to have stuff like that play out in the public eye. But, and he's referring to Prince William here, he said, but he has chosen to keep it completely private, which obviously Prince William has. It's Harry running his mouth off here, there and everywhere, trying to make out that he's a victim and wanting sympathy from the world, even though, well, much like Meghan, he is the problem. But Jason stays away from all of that, and he said that Prince William has chosen to keep it private, and all of us that know him need to respect that as well. But the one thing that he did say, and he said, I will say, it's been very hard for many of us that know both of them. They achieved a lot together, but they are family at the end of the day. So I said that perfectly, it's a perfect bit of diplomacy there. It's saying that Prince William is obviously very hurt by the way that it's all happened, but he's chosen to keep it private, and I'm keeping it private. But do not think for a second it hasn't obviously affected him. Now, there was someone else that was interviewed for 60 Minutes, and this is the King and Queen's former butler, Grant Harold, who said that he feels that the fallout between the brothers will mend itself one day, and he believes that it will be when Prince William becomes king. And I'm thinking to myself here, I mean, I think that's more wishful thinking on his part, because obviously he knew them both and saw them grow up and how close they were. So it's obviously a personal want. I'm sure many people would like the brothers to make up, that obviously knew them both and knew Harry before, well, he met his wife. And I just think the way that Harry behaved with the Queen and Prince Philip's funeral, he will be no different at his father's, because let's be honest, I don't believe that Charles is going to step down. So if Prince William is becoming king, it's because King Charles is no longer here. So it would be straight from a funeral to then having a coronation. Harry, I believe, will be just as angry, just as petulant, and just as demanding. And the thing is, without Charles around to kind of soften that, I don't think that William is going to be as willing to put up with his brother's nonsense, especially, as I said, the way that he's behaved at their grandparents' funerals. And as for Meghan, I don't think that she will get her toe through any of the royal residences ever again. But all in all, with everything that was discussed, Harry and Meghan feature in it a small part, and it was just, in truth, to talk about Harry and Meghan's destruction they caused, and the fact that Jason Knauf was part of the spearheading with the bullying allegations. And, well, the thing is, people say that he was attacking Meghan, and he never was attacking Meghan, even by grassing her up to Prince William. That wasn't about Meghan. Everybody makes it about her and her feelings. He wasn't trying to do anything to her. He was trying to protect other people. He was trying to give other people a voice that Meghan knew damn well that they didn't have one, and that's why she got away with doing it. And as I said, as for Meghan, with the many people making up excuses for her, oh, she's American, she's a Hollywood star, it's the way they treat people. She wasn't a Hollywood star, and if that was the case, it's to do with cultural differences. How do you explain all of the American staff that have similar, well, in some cases probably worse complaints about working for her in America with her American foundation? It's because, like I keep saying, it's Harry and Meghan that are the problem. But there's been another interview that's come out that left me bamboozled, perplexed, I would say, to the point there's going to be a rant. Sir Trevor McDonald has given an interview to Saga magazine. He is a very famous newsreader in the United Kingdom. He's got an incredible career that spanned over 60 years. He is one of the most recognisable presenters in British broadcasting history. So what's he said in his interview? Well, let's start with Harry. He said it's a great shame Prince Harry is no longer part of the working monarchy. We cannot afford to lose someone so young, so full of energy, and so imbued with charitable instincts that are at the core of the royal family. This is Harry that complained of having a burnout. He was worked to the bone after he went to Nepal. Bearing in mind, he was only a working royal, I think, for 18 months at this point. He went to Nepal after they'd had a devastating earthquake in 2015. It was something like over 8,000 people died, over 22,000 people were injured, their homes, businesses, everything destroyed. And Harry went out there and he complained that he was having an emotional burnout because he was asked to do too much. This is also Harry that we all know that sold his family's privacy, intimate details for 30 pieces of silver. I know I always use that expression, but it was the ultimate betrayal what he did. Harry has thrown so many grenades at the palace walls, I'm surprised that they're still standing. But of course, and thankfully, people worked out rather quickly that Harry and Meghan's versions of the truth are a changeable version of reality and not the actual truth. Their ability to rewrite history and to play victim now surpasses their reputations. Even people that didn't follow the royal family, they're like, oh, Meghan Markle, she's the one that tried to destroy the monarchy, isn't she? Yes, she is, that very same person. So this is the bit that I near enough launched my phone across the room. Honestly, the frustration. But anyway, right, so he said, Meghan never stood a chance. Why? Because she's a foreigner, an American, a divorcee, a former actress, and black. Meghan could have brought a new dimension to the monarchy. She was never given a chance to prove herself. Oh, where to start with this one? There's the old American thing again, isn't it? I'm sorry. I have travelled across America. I have lived with Americans. I've worked for American companies. I hate this. I really hate this, that people turn around and say, oh, well, she's American. Americans are some of the nicest people that I have ever met in my entire life. Now, also, let's talk about the fact that Meghan wasn't given a chance because she's black. Oh, where to start with this one? I'm tired of it. I'm bored of it. The race card. Let's be real here. Meghan has used her biracialness to her advantage, hasn't she? Meghan, throughout her entire life, Meghan did not surround herself with black friends growing up. She didn't date black men. She married white men. She had the opportunity at Northwestern. She could have joined a black sorority. Meghan chose not to join a black sorority. There are lots of things that Meghan could have done. She didn't exactly use her TIG blog for civil rights campaigning, did she? For example, you know, Black History Month, there's lots of people calling her out for it. Meghan uses her biracialness to her advantage. Even before she found it to be profitable and a way to weaponize and to put a shield up, nobody could criticize her. Even when it came to Meghan was being interviewed about her lack of acting roles. Oh, it's because I'm too white to play a black person. I'm too black to play a white person. No, it's because you're not a good actress. The only successful role that Meghan has been Rachel Zane, and that's because I think in part she played herself. And even that, I remembered at one point reading certain blogs and stuff, and people were saying, I didn't even know Meghan was biracial. It's only when they had her father come out on Suits that they were like, oh, is she? I mean, I remember being perplexed when Harry put out that statement to tell the press to back off, and it said there were racist undertones. And I was like, racist? What? And it was only when I looked into it a bit more, I was like, oh, she's biracial. Didn't know, didn't have a clue. And then, of course, as we know, the rest is history. Meghan found that she could use it to her advantage. She built up a very large fan base. And look, I'm not saying that Meghan hasn't had racism directed towards her. Racism takes on many different forms. And I'm not saying that it hasn't happened to her. But I think the way that Meghan has weaponized it is pretty disgusting. And it's a shame. Meghan has had a lot of dislike thrown at her because of her character. It's got nothing to do with the colour of her skin. It's the way that she treats other people. It's the way that she behaves. Meghan's lack of success of being a royal or being an actress or being a podcaster or being an influencer or any other career choice that Meghan chooses to add, the reason why Meghan sucks at all of them is because she is just not a likeable person. It's got nothing to do with her parentage or her DNA. It's all about Meghan's lack of good character. Vanity Fair and Hollywood Reporter have both called her out recently for the fact that her bullying behaviour still continues to this day. Is it hardly surprising that many people do not trust the fact that Meghan is this kind, sweet and lovely person that she's now painting herself out to be with Love Meghan? And it's like, really? Really? You seem to be one of the biggest bullies out there since Ellen. Meghan was dropped by the royals, she was dropped by Sunshine Sachs, she was dropped by Spotify and Gimlet Studios, not of course before she put some of them in long-term therapy, and now it would seem that even Ari Emanuel, the CEO of William Morris Endeavour, otherwise known as WME, one of the top talent agencies in Hollywood, has also washed their hands of the difficult, demanding, disastrous diva Duchess. There you go, there's all the Ds. Page 6 reports that several insiders have revealed that he refuses to meet with her and she's being handled by day-to-day agents, with one saying they are not handling any of her personal business. Apparently she had an outburst back in last January and demanded decks and plans were laid out before her, basically blueprints of all that they were going to do for her. Meghan doesn't want to do work, she wants other people to do it for her, and then she just simply signs her name, and then takes the credit for it. That might have worked in some instances, but it's certainly not going to be working for WME. And that certainly does explain the chaotic madness that we have seen with the launch of American Riviera Orchard, with As Ever, with Love Meghan, the pulling the show, the adding content, the continuous stories that we are seeing. This is Meghan being, I would say, completely erratic. It's got no control to it, has it? And now it all makes sense. Meghan has lost yet again another management team. Whether it's her near daily Instagram video posts or it's her vision board, a lot can be said that Meghan seems to be becoming more and more desperate to turn the tide. And as I said many videos ago, even Moses himself couldn't do that for her now. Lots of people have broken down the things that appeared on her vision board, so I don't wish to go over it all again, apart from one tweet by Christine Freber who hit the nail on the head. Meghan has posted the ultimate narcissist's vision board with 15 images of herself, 9 quotes by herself, old photographs from her previous blog The Tig, Meghan's pretentious handwriting, and labels for her new brand. Raspberry spread is apparently now happening. I know, please try to contain your excitement. And of course, for the final touch that she put on the board that everybody's picked up on is a little bit of Catherine and William cosplay. Yes, I know this is a painting or a cartoon version of this photograph which they released on Netflix, but I always thought at the time when this came out this was a direct copy. Meghan set this up to look like this. This is when Catherine and William had just been married. I think it was about 9 months after their wedding, and they were walking blissfully along the beach. These photographs were famous. They made worldwide news because it was quite an intimate and sweet moment between the couple. It's rare to capture things like this, and it was just everywhere. And we know that Meghan was reading magazines on Catherine. We know that Meghan certainly was watching the wedding of Catherine and William. She really deep down wishes she got the other brother, is my guess. Everything about that board was painfully contrived. Everything was placed with meaning or reference to something. It's so obviously staged, and of course, it's all about Meghan. Everything about her seems to be fake. She is completely staged managed no matter what she is doing, with the exception of one thing. There is one thing that seems to have continuity, and it sticks throughout every single role or position that she has taken on, every single rebrand, every single version of Meghan. There is one thing that seems to be continuous with her, and that is people quit. She is so difficult that people cannot handle working for her or with her, and they quit on her. And some of them not necessarily before or after checking into therapy or potentially even rehab. Meghan proving time and time again that she is the problem. So guys, that's it for me on this video. I will be back with you with more royal news very soon, because we've got a double outing with the Prince and Princess of Wales. We have got some lovely news with Queen Camilla, and there was a very excitable little girl that couldn't wait to give her daffodils to Her Majesty. So join me back here very soon. Take care for now. Bye.